Good morning, students. Welcome to 8th Standard Social Science, Civics, 6th Unit, Defense and Foreign Policy. So, children, listen carefully to this session, and in case of any doubts, make a note of it, which shall be clarified on the day of reopening. So, now let's enter into today's class. Today, our topic is about defense and foreign policy. So why a defense sector is very important in a country, and then we are going to see certain foreign policies and also the divisions in security forces. So India is a peace-loving country, and also India has always maintained a cordial relationship with all other countries in general and also with neighbors in particular. So since India is a peace-loving country, it maintains a friendly relationship with all other countries. And at the same time, it has to strengthen its security to defend its border from any foreign aggression. So at the same time, the security force must be very strong to protect the borders from the foreign invasion. So the government of India has given higher priorities to the defense sector. So why we need defense sector means in order to maintain the peace and harmony in a country, defense sector is very important. So in this lesson, we are going to see about the need for defense system in a country. So why the defense system plays a vital role in a country means the national security is very essential for the political, social as well as economic development of any country. So national security or the national defense system is very important in all aspects, that is political, social and economic development of the country, and also it plays a vital role in the growth of country's peace and prosperity. So it also important for the growth of country's peace and prosperity. So since India is a peace-loving country. So now let's see about the Indian Defence Services. So what are the defence services included in our Indian administration? So first one is the President of India is considered as the highest position in our defence organization. So the President of India, being the head of the state, occupies the highest position in our defense organization. Not only highest position, the President of India is considered as the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces in India. So the President of India is the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces in India. So now let's see what are the divisions in our security forces. So the security forces in India can be divided into, first one is Indian Armed Forces, Paramilitary Forces, and third one is Central Armed Police Forces. So the three divisions are Indian Armed Forces, Paramilitary Forces, Central Armed Police Forces. So let's see each division. First one is Indian Armed Forces. So Indian Armed Forces means the Army, the Navy, Air Force, everything comes under Indian Armed Forces. So let's see it. The Indian Armed Forces are the primary forces, consist of country's Army, Navy, Air Force as well as Coastal Guard, and they serve under the Ministry of Defence. So Indian Armed Forces consists of Army, Navy, Air Force as well as Coast Guard, and they work under the Ministry of Defence. And next one is Paramilitary Forces. So paramilitary forces, they consist of Assam Rifles and Special Frontier Force. So paramilitary forces consist of the military troops at Assam and the Special Frontier Force. And the third category is Central Armed Police Forces. So there are totally 7 Central Armed Police Forces. So the expansion we will see it later. So they are BSF, CRPF, ITBP, CISF and SSB. They serve under the authority of Ministry of Home Affairs, and CAPF work along with both army and police in different roles assigned to them. So there are totally 7 central armed police forces, and this central armed police forces, that is CAPF, they work in coordination with army force as well as police force. So first let's see about Indian Armed Forces. So as we have seen earlier, Indian Armed Forces consists of Army, Navy, and then Air Force and also the Coastal Guard. So let's see each. First one is Army. So Army means the military troops or the soldiers are the Army. So Indian Army is the land-based branch and it is the largest volunteer army in the world. So Indian Army is a land-based troops. And this army is commanded by the Chief of Army Staff, that is COAS, who is a 4-star general. So the army is commanded or headed by COAS, means Chief of Army Staff, and he is a 4-star general. And the major functions of army are: the primary missions of Indian Army is to ensure the national security, national unity, defending the nation from external aggression as well as internal threat, and maintaining peace and security within its border. So these are all the functions of the army. So it must ensure national security, national unity. It must protect the country from foreign invasions as well as protect the country's border. So the Indian Army is a 7-command army. So Indian Army is a 7-command army. So the 7 commands are: the Training Command of Simla, Central Command Lucknow, Eastern Command Kolkata, Southwestern Command Jaipur, Southern Command Pune, Western Command Chandimandir, and Northern Command Udhampur. So these are the 7 commands in our army. So it is operationally and geographically divided into 7 commands. So this is not given in your textbook. And this is the National War Memorial. So this is the National War Memorial and it is a monument. So this monument was built by the government of India to honor the Indian Armed Forces. So this memorial was built by the government of India to honor the Army, Navy, Air Force officers. And also the memorial is spread over 40 acres of land and it is built around the existing Chhatri canopy near Indian Gate, New Delhi, and the names of armed forces personnel martyred during the conflicts are inscribed in the memorial walls. So this memorial is located at Chhatri canopy. It is in India Gate, New Delhi, and the names of the armed forces officers who died during the war are inscribed in this memorial. So they are inscribed in this memorial. And it was built by the government of India in memory of the martyrs. So martyrs are the military officers who lost their lives during the war. So now let's see Navy Force. So now let's see about the Navy Force. The primary objective of the Navy is to safeguard the nation's maritime borders. That is, the primary objective of the Navy Force is to safeguard the sea borders or the ocean borders, and in conjunction with other armed forces of the Union act to deter or defeat any threats or aggression against the territory, people or maritime interest of India. So major motive of the Navy Force is to protect the sea borders. So it has 3 commands. So the Navy Force works under 3 naval commands. One, it has Visakhapatnam, that is Eastern Naval Command, Kochi, Southern Naval Command, Mumbai, that is Western Naval Command. And also the Chief of the Naval Staff is a 4-star Admiral. So the Chief of the Naval Staff is the 4-star Admiral. So now let's see about the Indian Air Force. So let's see about the Indian Air Force. The Indian Air Force is the air arm of the Indian Armed Forces. Its primary mission is to secure Indian airspace and to conduct aerial warfare during the armed conflict. So Indian Air Force is the primary air force which secure the Indian airspace. And also the Chief of the Air Staff and Indian Chief Marshal. So the Chief of the Air Staff is Chief Marshal and he is a 4-star officer and is responsible for the bulk of operational command of the Air Force, and it has 7 commands. So Indian Air Force has 7 commands and the Chief of the Air Staff is Marshal. So he is a 4-star officer. So the 7 commands are the Western Command Delhi, Central Air Command Allahabad, Eastern Air Command Shillong, Training Command Bangalore, Southern Air Command Thiruvananthapuram, Maintenance Command Nagpur, South Western Air Command Gandhinagar. So this is not given in your textbook. So the Indian Air Force has 7 commands. So now let's see about Indian Coast Guard, that is ICG. So ICG means Indian Coast Guard. So the Indian Coast Guard was established in 1978 by the Coast Guard Act and 1978 of the Parliament of India as an independent armed force of India. So the Indian Coast Guard was established in 1978 according to the Coast Guard Act of 1978, and it was established as an independent armed force of India. And also the Coast Guard works in close operation with the Indian Navy and the Departments of Fisheries and the Departments of Revenue, that is Customs, and the Central and State Police Forces. So the ICG, it works in coordination with Indian Navy, Department of Fisheries, Department of Customs and Central and State Police Forces. So now let's see about Paramilitary Defense Forces. So what are the functions of Paramilitary Defense Forces? So the forces which help in maintaining the internal security, protecting the coastline and assisting the army are known as paramilitary forces. So paramilitary forces means the force which secure the internal security. So the force which ensure the internal security are called paramilitary forces. And also the responsibility is the security of important places like railway station, oil fields and refineries, water reservoir lines, etc. So the paramilitary force, they have the responsibility to provide security in important places like railway station, oil field and refineries, water reservoir lines, etc. And also they participate in the management of natural and man-made disasters. So they also participate in the rescue team of during the natural and man-made disaster. During the peacetime, the paramilitary forces also have the responsibility of protecting the international borders. So when there is no conflict within the country, during the peacetime, this force must also have the responsibility to protect the international borders. So some paramilitary forces are Assam Rifles, that is AR. Another one is Special Frontier Force, that is SFF. So AR means Assam Rifles and SFF means Special Frontier Force. So now let's see about the Field Marshal of India. So the Field Marshal of India is a 5 General Star officer and the rank and the highest attainable rank in the Indian Army. So the Field Marshal is a 5-star general officer and it is the highest rank in the Indian Army. And Sam Manekshaw. So Sam Manekshaw was the first Field Marshal of India. So Sam Manekshaw was the first Field Marshal of India, and the second Field Marshal of India was K.M. Cariappa. So the second Field Marshal of India was K.M. Cariappa. And also Arjan Singh. So Arjan Singh was the first and the only office of the Indian Air Force to be promoted to 5-star rank as Marshal. So Arjan Singh was the first and the only officer of the Indian Air Force to be promoted to 5-star rank as Marshal. So he is Arjan Singh. So he was the first and the only officer of the Indian Air Force to be promoted to 5-star rank as Marshal. And also the Madras Regiment is the oldest infantry regiment. So infantry means soldiers, soldier troop. So the Madras Regiment is one of the oldest infantry regiment of Indian Army, originating in the year 1758. The regimental central is at Wellington, Udagamandalam, Tamil Nadu. So this center for training the police was located as Wellington, Udagamandalam, Tamil Nadu. It was established in 1758 and it was one of the oldest infantry regiment. And next one is, in 1962, after the Sino-Indian War, the need to expand the number of officers was felt. So, in 1962, after the Sino-Indian War, there was a need for more military officers. So, 2 officers training school, that is OTS, 2 officers training schools were established in Pune and Chennai to train officers for emergency commission into the army. On the 1st January 1988, the school was renamed as the Officers Training Academy, that is OTA. So after the Sino-Indian War, the Indian government, they felt that they need more army officers. For that, they established 2 officers training school. First one was established at Pune and then Chennai to train the officers for emergency. So on 1st January 1988, this school was renamed as the Officers Training Academy, that is OTA. So now let's see about the Assam Rifles. So Assam Rifles is one of the paramilitary force. So the Assam Rifles came into being in 1835. So this rifle force was established in 1835 in Assam, which was established by the British in the Assam region as the militia called Catcher Leve. There are currently 46 battalions of Assam Rifles. It is under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So this force was established by British in Assam in the year 1835 in order to secure the Assam border. So currently it has 46 battalions of Assam Rifles and this force is under the Ministry of Home Affairs, that is MHA. MHA means Ministry of Home Affairs. And next paramilitary force is Special Frontier Force, that is SFF. So Special Frontier Force is a paramilitary special force of India created in 1962. So SFF was created in 1962 and this force was put under the direct supervision of the Intelligence Bureau and later under the Research and Analysis Wing, India's external intelligence agency. So this paramilitary force was created in India in the year 1962 under the direct supervision of Intelligence Bureau and later this force came under the supervision of Research and Analysis Wing and External Intelligence Agency. So now let's see about Rajendra Chola I. In 1025 AD, Rajendra Chola I, the Chola king from Tamil Nadu, launched naval on the city-state of expedition Sri Vijaya in maritime Southeast Asia and conquered Kadaram, modern Kedah. So, In 1025 AD, Rajendra Chola, one of the most powerful king in the Chola dynasty, he launched a naval expedition. So he got a very powerful naval force and he captured Kadaram. So he captured Kadaram with the help of his naval force, and it is a unique event in the Indian history which tells about the naval force, the prominence of naval force in the ancient period. So now let's see about the Central Armed Police Forces, that is CAPF, Central Armed Police Forces. So there are 5 forces which come under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So let's see the 5 forces. First one is Central Reserve Police Force, that is CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force. And next one is Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force. So Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force. And then Border Security Force. And fourth one, Central Industrial Security Force. And finally, Special Service Bureau. So these are all the 5 forces which come under the Ministry of Home Affairs, were earlier considered as paramilitary forces, but from March 2011, they have been reclassified as Central Armed Police Forces. So the 5 forces are Central Reserve Police Force, Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, Border Security Force, Central Industrial Security Force, Special Service Bureau. So first let's see about the Central Reserve Police Force, that is CRPF. So the mission of Central Reserve Police Force shall be to enable the government to maintain the rule of law, public order and internal security effectively and efficiently. So the main motive is to maintain the rule and order in the society and also to provide internal security. And they preserve the national integrity and promote social harmony and development by upholding the supremacy of the Constitution. So these are all the functions of CRPF. So now let's see about Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force, that is ITBP. So it is a border guarding police force. This force is specialized in high altitude operations. It is deployed for border guarding duties from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, that is India-China border. So Indo-Tibetan Border Police Force means it provides security force for the borders from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh. So next one is Border Security Force, that is BSF. So the Border Security Force is a border guarding force of India, and BSF is charged with guarding India's land border during peacetime and preventing the transactional crimes. So the BSF, it provides security force for the borders in order to ensure peace and harmony for a country. And next one is Central Industrial Security Force, that is CISF. So CISF means Central Industrial Security Force. The Central Industrial Security Force was set up under an Act of the Parliament of India on 10th March 1969. Its duties are guarding the sensitive governmental buildings, the Delhi Metro and providing airport security. So, this force was set up according to the Parliament Act of India on 10th March 1969, and the main function of this force is to protect the government buildings such as the Delhi Metro and also provide security for the airports. And next one is National Cadet Corps, that is NCC. So NCC means National Cadet Corps. National Cadet Corps is a tri-services organization comprising the Army, Navy and Air Force engaged in grooming the youth of the country into disciplined and patriotic citizen. So NCC means to train the youth of a country to lead a disciplined and become a patriotic citizens. And also this NCC, that is National Cadet Corps of India, is a voluntary organization. So voluntary means according to the individual's wish, which recruits cadets from high schools, colleges and universities all over India, and the cadets are given basic military training in small arms and parades. So the National Cadet Corps is a voluntary organization where the students from high schools, colleges and universities were taken and they given military training in small arms and parades. And next one is Home Guard. So let's see about the Home Guards. So the Indian Home Guard is also a voluntary force tasked as an auxiliary to the Indian police. Home Guards are recruited from various cross sections of the civil societies such as professionals, college students, agriculture and industrial workers. So Home Guard is also a voluntary force where the persons are recruited from various sections like professionals, college students, agricultural, industrial workers. So these people, they work in their spare time, and also all citizens of India in the age group of 18 to 50, that is 50, are eligible, and normal tenure of membership in Home Guards is 3 to 5 years. So now let's see. The 15th of January is regarded as Army Day. So 15th January is Army Day. And then 1st February is Coast Guard Day. 1st February is Coast Guard Day. And 10th March is Central Industrial Security Force Day. 10th March is Central Industrial Security Force Day. And 7th October, Rapid Action Force Day. 7th October is regarded as Rapid Action Force Day. And 8th October is regarded as Air Force Day. 8th October is Air Force Day. And 4th December is Navy Day. 4th December is Indian Navy Day. And 7th December is Armed Forces Flag Day. 7th December is Armed Forces Flag Day. So now let's see about the foreign policy of India. So why the foreign policy is very important? A foreign policy is a set of political goals that define how a sovereign country will interact with other countries in the world. So foreign policy means it is a set of goals, political goals, and a relationship, friendly relationship with other countries. Our country's external relation is based on certain principles and policies, and India's foreign policy was evolved with the background of her colonial sufferings. So our country's external relation with other country is based on certain principles and policies. And also, let's see the basic principles of foreign policy in India. So basic principles of foreign policy in India. Preservation of national interest. So preservation of national interest. So the foreign policy must be framed in such a way that it fulfill the national's goal. And next one is achievement of world peace, disarmament, and then abolition of colonization, racism and imperialism. And next one is increasing the number of friendly nations and economic development. These are all the principles of foreign policy. So first one is the policies must be framed for the national welfare, and it must provide peace, and there should be no slavery, that is no racism, no imperialism, etc. And increasing the number of friendly nations means increasing the number of friendly relationship with other countries, as well as it must be for the economic development of the country. And Jawaharlal Nehru, he was the first Prime Minister of India, was the chief architect of Indian foreign policy. So Jawaharlal Nehru was the first Prime Minister, and he was the chief architect, means he framed the India's foreign policy, and Nehru was the supporter of world peace. And Jawaharlal Nehru, he gave utmost importance to the world peace in his policy planning. So he framed the policies in such a way to achieve the world peace. And he declared the 5 principles of peace known as Panchsheel. So the 5 principles of peace was called Panchsheels. So first one is mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. So first one is mutual respect. Second one is mutual non-interference in each other's internal affairs, equal and mutual benefit, mutual non-aggression, peaceful coexistence. So this policy was adopted on April 20th, 1954. So these principles are called Panchsheel of Jawaharlal Nehru. So first one is mutual respect, means we should provide respect. The policies must be framed in such a way that it should respect others' country's policy. And second one is mutual non-interference into each other's internal affairs, means they should not interfere into their internal administration. Then equal and mutual benefit, and then mutual non-aggression, no invasion, and peaceful coexistence. So now let's see about the non-alignment movement. So the word non-alignment was coined by V.K. Krishna Menon, and non-alignment has been regarded as the most important feature of India's foreign policy. So the word non-alignment was coined by V.K. Krishna Menon. And the non-alignment aimed to maintain national independence in foreign affairs by not joining any military alliance formed by the USA or Soviet Union in the aftermath of the Second World War. So the non-alignment, it aimed to maintain national independence in the foreign affairs. That means no one should interfere into their internal affairs or their internal policies or administration. And also the founding fathers of non-alignment movement. So let's see the founding fathers of non-alignment movements. First one, Jawaharlal Nehru of India. So Jawaharlal Nehru of India. Tito of Yugoslavia. Tito of Yugoslavia. And next one is Nasser of Egypt. Next one is Nasser of Egypt. And next one is Sukarno of Indonesia. Sukarno of Indonesia. And then Kwame Kumarak. So Kwame Kumarak of Ghana. So Kwame Kumarak of Ghana. So these are all the founding fathers of non-alignment movement. So now let's see about Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela, he was the leader of the African National Council of South Africa. So he was the leader of the African National Council of South Africa, and he is determined as a fighter against apartheid. So apartheid means separation between the people. So apartheid means it is a kind of discrimination. And apartheid is a worst form of racial discrimination where the people are discriminated based on their race. And it is against the humanism and democracy. India fought against apartheid and opposed all types of racial discrimination. And the end of racialism in South Africa in 1990 was the great success for India's policy. So apartheid means it is a kind of racial discrimination, and in South Africa this kind of discrimination came to an end in the year 1990 because of Nelson Mandela. So the end of racialism in South Africa was a great success for Nelson Mandela. So now let's see about the India's relation with neighboring countries. So let's see about the India's relation with neighboring countries. So India's position is unique in its neighborhood And India has always favored international and regional cooperation because India believes that through cooperation, all disputes and problems among the nations can be sorted out peacefully. So, India's position is very unique in its neighborhood because it seeks a peaceful relationship with other countries. And also, India shares a common land border with some countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Nepal, China, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Burma, and it also shares a common sea border with Sri Lanka. And India's foreign policy is based on the principle of developing friendly relation and cooperation with neighbors. So this is the border. So India shares the common land border with Pakistan, Afghanistan as well as Nepal, then China, Bhutan and then Burma. So Myanmar is Burma as well as Bangladesh, and it also shares the common sea border with Sri Lanka. So India is a vast country. So it has Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest. Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest. China, Nepal and Bhutan to the north. Bangladesh to the east. Myanmar to the far east. Sri Lanka to the southeast. And Maldives to the southwest. So India is a vast country and these are all its borders. So now let's see about the neighborhood first policy. It is a part of India's foreign policy that actively focuses on improving ties with India's immediate neighbors. So neighborhood policy is to make up a tie with India's neighboring countries. So first one is Act East policy. The first neighborhood policy is Act East policy. So the Southeast Asia begins with Northeast India. The Southeast Asia, it begins with Northeast India. Myanmar is our land bridge to the countries of the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations. So Myanmar is considered as a land bridge in the Southeast Asian nation. And next one is India believes in regional cooperation and to foster the bonds of brotherhood, cooperation and peaceful coexistence, that is SAARC. So SAARC means South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation was established. So after the Act East policy is mainly concentrated with Myanmar. So now we are going to see about SAARC. So SAARC means South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation and its main motive is to provide a regional cooperation and brotherhood as well as peaceful coexistence with other countries. So SAARC full form is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So the main countries in SAARC, the members of SAARC are India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Afghanistan are the 8 members of SAARC association. So India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives and Afghanistan are the 8 members of SAARC association. So now let's see about BCIM. So BCIM means Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Economic Corridor. So BCIM means Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar Association. It is the formation of thriving economic belt focusing on cross-border transport, energy and telecommunication networks. So it is also a cooperative association between the 4 countries. And next one is BIMSTEC. So BIMSTEC, it refers to Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. So the full form of BIMSTEC means Bay of Bengal Initiative for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. So, its main objective are to strengthen and improve the technological economic cooperation, international trade and foreign direct investment cooperation. So, these are all the main motive of BIMSTEC. First one is economic development, international trade and investment. And the member countries are Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan and Nepal. So the member country for BIMSTEC are Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bhutan and Nepal. So next is BBIN. So next one is BBIN. So let's see. So BBIN means Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal. So B for Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal. It is a 4-member association and it has signed a framework to enable movement of passengers, cargo vehicles for energy development. So it is an agreement between the 4 countries, a friendly agreement for movement of passengers and vehicles and also energy development. So I hope you are clear with today's session. So we have come to an end of session. So in today's video, we have seen about the defense system and the importance of this defense system and various foreign policies which ensure the peaceful coexistence with other neighboring countries. So with this video, your defense system and foreign policy lesson is completed. So refer your textbooks or refer your textbook pages from page number 208 to 213. So now it's time for questions. So let's see some evaluation questions. And in case of any doubts, go through the whole session video once again or else you can refer your textbook. So let's see some questions. So first one, the Madras Regimental Army Center is at, the Indian Navy Chief is called, who is the first and only officer of Indian Air Force to be promoted to 5-star rank Marshal of Indian Air Force. The chief architect of India's foreign policy was, and finally the word non-alignment was coined by. So children, try to answer all these questions in the notebook which you are maintaining for social science. And with this video, defense system and foreign policy lesson is completed. Thank you.